Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Scale Smart podcast. I'm your host Jacob and also the founder of Next Scale Growth. Today I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by the CEO of Chatlyn, Nic. Nic, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Nic, before we get into the podcast, I just want to ask you and for you to tell me and the audience a little bit more about what you guys do at Chatlyn and also what your expertise and your experience consists of.
Perfect. Of course, I'd like to jump in. With Chatlyn, we help hotels and hospitality businesses around the world with communicating faster and better with their guests, more or less, let's say, automated. So they get a lot of messages from all different channels, a lot of requests from before booking, during the stay, after booking. And we put all of the channels together. And on top of that, we've built our AI concierge, reservation agent, whatever you name it, for every single step in this whole guest communication process. We've built a solution that jumps in, takes over conversations, answers, gives offers, gives availabilities, rates, and all of that is connected to their property management systems, which is more or less the hotel management software. So our AI and our solution has always all the booking information, all the guest relevant information in place as well to make life easier for receptions, front desks, guest relation offices, you name it. We focus on hotels, on Airbnb apartment providers, on campsites, holiday parks, but we have further also some travel agencies, tour operator, small airlines, transportation companies, more or less. We focus on tourism, but our specialty is definitely hospitality.
Okay, amazing. Chatlyn has grown quite rapidly since its late 2022 launch. Now, you guys serve over 1,000 different properties in 30 different countries. What would you say were some of the challenges you guys had and how you overcame them? And what would you say are some of the challenges you guys are seeing right now?
Mm-hmm. So challenges we had. I mean, so we started off by seeing the opportunities that new communication channels jumped into hospitality business everyday work, like WhatsApp, all the OTAs, online travel agencies like Booking.com, Expedia, they put their own messenger in place. So first of all, it was a challenge to connect all of these services. So we can provide this right now. Second, we wanted to build something that is focused on hospitality, which means we didn't want to build another omni-channel inbox solution, and we wanted to build something that is relevant to our ICP, in that case, hospitality business. So we needed to connect the property management systems. Connectivity is everything in our business, I would say, and this is also the biggest challenge, as there are so many different PMS provider out there. I would say definitely more than worldwide 1,000. The bigger ones are, for example, Oracle, Muse, you name it. But there are so many. Alone in Austria, I would say there are 30 different providers of property management solutions. By now, we are definitely not connected to all of them, but at least we have about 30 to 40 connections right now, which makes definitely life easier. But this is more or less the connectivity to the channels, the connectivity to the systems that are already in place with hotels, not only property management systems, but further systems down the road there, like task management, voucher systems, loyalty, whatever. There's a big ecosystem actually, which is also a challenge to get that to understand as well. For me, coming from another vertical, HR, doing HR software in the past, coming into the hospitality more in detail, I was astonished by how broad the hotel tech landscape, hospitality tech landscape is, and what kind of solutions are already in place. This was kind of the challenge in the beginning, but I think we found a very good way through that and have a perfect plan in place to grow further. But nowadays, I think the biggest challenge is, I mean, we quite soon jumped on AI. So we started off in late 2022 and in beginning of 23, when there was the GPT hype, we pretty soon said, okay, let's build our own conversational AI on top of that to help hotels work with that. We found a lot of issues, problems in the beginning with AI. So there is a lot of unstructured data with hotels. The property management systems are, let's say, grown dinosaurs with unstructured data and like a mess. So yeah, I couldn't really handle that. We built a team around that. We invested a lot in the beginning already to work out a way how we can provide relevant feedback, relevant answers back to the guests, because AI in the beginning and still nowadays is to some kind of black box. You don't know if it's always true what it's saying.
Mm.
But we did that very well in the last 2 years. We launched several services this year already where we found solutions for these problems. But on the other hand side, AI is changing dramatically let's say every week, every day, which makes life as a software as a service company even let's say worse. I grew up with software as a service in the early days. I started off with my first software as a service company, cloud company, in 2011, where you needed to convince people to use cloud solutions, which was pretty crazy when you remind that back. And nowadays, it's like common. There is no question around cloud services anymore. But in my opinion, as AI is like making things available so easily and making things so much faster, I feel like we need to overhaul our solution every month. That's, in my opinion, a big challenge. You cannot really stay ahead, but to keep up and do the right things, we restructured our complete development team completely in the beginning of the year, because we said we need to have people that know how to work with AI, because we can speed up the process dramatically. So we kicked out more than half of our team, which is a pretty crazy move, and started hiring in that direction, that people that understand how to use different AI solutions to code very well and fast. For instance, we are, as I said before, overhauling our whole solution now, which is when you would do that, like let's say 3, 4, 5 years ago, it would definitely take you 1 to 2 years at least to build the solution from scratch. But nowadays, we're speaking about a couple of months, which is pretty crazy. Of course, it's not tested, but also this is something that can be done by AI. So when you look into product development, this is, I think, a big challenge, not only for us, but for all others out there
Mm.
right now. I think you need to adopt, otherwise you're going to be left behind.
Definitely, definitely. And I think that's kind of the shift which everybody's starting to realize now with AI coming in. There's so many different AI companies coming up now as well, not just within the hospitality sector, but in all kind of sectors. And just want to go to this question now about you guys were actually awarded the best chatbot solution provider in 2024. So how do you actually maintain that level of excellence and continue to keep innovating ahead of all these different AI companies and your competitors, which are constantly evolving and constantly coming up into the market each month?
I think you need to do crazy things. You just need to do it. Work as usual is nothing you can do right now. You need to do risky things, like let's say build the completely product development from scratch. You need to jump all in and say, okay, let's build a complete backbone from scratch, because this is something that will definitely you need to adopt very fast, and you need to do risky things. Otherwise, you won't stay ahead. And I think this is one of the things that made us quite successful in the first place. So we just did it. Now, back in the days, I think, like, let's say 5 to 10 years ago, you would never come up with the idea to do so many different things, to build, let's say, within 2.5 years, a huge platform. We built a platform. Could have built 4 different services out of it and make a lot of money, but we said we want to have an all-in-one solution for the whole guest experience, which is at the end of the day also something that where you need to be crazy to do that. Typically, you start with an MVP and focus on that. So we never did that. We said, let's have all the channels. Let's build one on omni-channel inbox. Let's build the AI agent on top. Let's build an automation studio. Let's build the connections to the PMS provider. This is crazy. Every API back in the days was something you need to maintain. This is still something you need to maintain today, but of course you have a help of a lot of AI agents if you are doing it right. And this is, in my opinion, what made us successful, because we had experience and humble guys that are very keen on using AI, and were also going all in, let's say, and doing these risky things. And on the other hand side, I think that I'm coming from a very competitive SaaS space, software as a service space, the HR one, applicant tracking systems. So I know how to handle competition. This is something I think my my team also learned, how to handle competition. But I need to say it's still not comparable where I've been. Back in the days, I had with every pitch. Back in the days, I had with every pitch, I had at least one or two competitors. This is now with in our solution, our space, not always the case. I would say less than 50%, definitely, which is also giving us the opportunity to grow. But the requests on software as a service products also have increased tremendously. So if you're not performing very well and deliver a good user experience and also service experience, which is something very important for hospitality, you will definitely lose, and sooner than later. So people know how to work with cloud solutions. So this has also dramatically changed. So you need to perform always and very well and have a very well usable system. Otherwise, go home.
And you described Chatley as the AI brains for hotels. So, where do you see AI making the most dramatic impact in hospitality over the next few years or so?
So, I mean, I said we want to become the AI brain of the hospitality industry. This is something we are up for. This is where we are heading. I would say the AI brain for all guest related topics, guest facing topics. Where is the industry heading? So this is actually a very tricky question, because I think today is even worse predicting the future than, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago, because it's so dramatically changing. I think most of the people even now don't understand what changes there will be in the next very soon coming years. So in my opinion, most of it there will be a lot of agentic work. I mean, now it's first movers and you see the first steps into that. But the next 2 to 3 years will be crazy, taking over real good developed prompted agents that are doing the right stuff. And so I guess it will be, uh, it it will be, where is it heading? There will be more conversations. There will be more automation. Hospitality can really focus on the experience more than all the digital work, because these typically late night tasks the tasks you will do late night or on Friday afternoons, that will be handled definitely by AI. I think the whole guest experience will dramatically increase and become more satisfied for the guests. Satisfaction scores will be definitely increasing if you are using it, if you can handle that. So I think the hospitality staff, the employees in hotels, and all the related hospitality companies need to learn how to work with such things, because this will be their main tool in making their life easier and focusing on the guest at the end of the day. A lot of automations, a lot of agentic work. I think definitely PMS solutions need to adopt most of them. Some early movers do that, or the bigger ones already have the possibilities, the options to work with agents, building MCPs. We have an MCP in place. We're building MCPs to solutions that have something like a protocol already in place. But this is all of that manual work will disappear, and the guest focus will be something that is important. So you need to know how to handle, you need to know how to prompt, and you need to know how to communicate with a real life person. In my opinion, all of the apps, except for the bigger ones, these mobile apps, this is something that will vanish in the next coming 5 to 10 years, of course, because this is just this was just the middleware to and to digitalize is maybe the wrong word, but it was just a middleware to deliver guest experience, which at the end of the day killed the conversation, the hospitality, in my opinion. But one did it, gave a nice experience. No one really used it further. And now you're bringing back conversations to hospitality, which means in any kind, like you don't need to handle any app anymore. You can do it via conversation on the channel you prefer. And on the other hand side, people are not staring in their screens anymore at the front desk. They're looking into your face and need to handle you as a guest and not the system anymore. This will be done by agents.
And just to finish up, Nic, just quickly, looking into the next 6 to 12 months or so, in terms of growing Chatlyn to the next level, could be revenue, could be countries. What are some of the goals you've got in terms of keep on scaling the company?
So I already did it once, and then for me, most important thing is to grow healthy. So we're building a good foundation and having a clear visibility in all of our processes and numbers. This is something we are now building up. I'm not I mean, there can be hyper growth, yes, but you need to be very well set up and you need to know where you look into. So for us, it's preparing a company for the next growth stage, and then of course investing into new markets and getting several further thousand properties into our solution. This is where we are where we
Amazing. And Nic, if people wanted to reach out to you, have a conversation, or just inquire, where's the best place for them to do that?
LinkedIn.
Amazing. I'll leave that down in the
WhatsApp, but first go for LinkedIn.
Amazing. Well, Nic, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, Jacob, for having me.
Pleasure.